are back, season 9, and we have the ability to actually be seen now as we're doing the podcast.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, baby? How do you
so
feel
funny.
about that, as I did put, for the first time in your life, some makeup on you?
It's not makeup, though.
Is it, though?
No, it's specifically for recording. So it's not like you went to, what's a makeup?
A makeup store?
Yeah.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, like you didn't go to the makeup store and buy powder.
Well, I mean,
is
our
like
good friend
specifically
did
for-
specifically get this to reduce the shine.
But it's for that specific. So it's like, it's not like Sephora.
Brad's trying to make every excuse
It's
to
not
still feel like a
Sephora.
man right now and wear makeup, but
It's
that's
not
fine.
Sephora, right? Or what is that, a makeup company?
Yeah, baby, I'm so
There you
impressed.
go. See?
So we are actually on YouTube. If you guys are listening to us where you typically listen to podcasts, you can actually go and watch. I will have you know that this does make me a little nervous. Does it make you nervous or no?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Yes, it does a little bit, but we've been recording ourselves and doing, like, we used to do a lot of little,
Shorts.
well, not even shorts. They were like reels or whatever on Instagram stories. So I've always, the way you feel now, I've been feeling forever.
I'm going to tell you why I'm nervous. The ability to record the podcast and not see facial expressions is a benefit when it comes to you, because your eyebrow goes up numerous times when we have conversations. Yeah. So now the world can see at any point.
Emotion.
Yes, your emotion. So like at any point, if Brad is questioning something I'm saying, one eyebrow just goes up. So anyways, if you are just listening on your typical, the way that you listen to our podcast, I'd encourage you to actually go to YouTube and go ahead and subscribe. And we are going to start off this season, as we always do, with a review from one of you, which we just want to say thank you again for those of you that are leaving reviews. It really does help other people to find us. It's an encouragement. So this one is from Phil3313. It says, when we needed it most. Said, my wife is walking me through sexual addiction recovery and affair recovery. I use the words walking with me intentionally because she didn't ask for this journey, but is graciously partnering with me, and it is such a blessing with me. When I confessed an affair and porn addiction to my wife, we both felt so alone in this journey. God, in his marvelous way, helped us find Brad and Lisa's podcast, and has been such a blessing to both of us and helped us not feel so alone. Yeah. I can't describe the challenge and encouragement Brad and Lisa have provided to us through each podcast. So grateful they are following God's leading and are doing these podcasts.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And just to be able to help someone feel like they aren't alone in this process is a really big deal to us. And it's part of the reason why we're doing this. So thank you for that review. And if you haven't left one yet, you can pause. If you're watching, pause. Give us a review. 5 stars.
Yeah. To do the 5 stars.
Just give us the 5 stars.
It's super easy.
Brad, have you ever actually reviewed or...
Yeah, I just didn't write anything.
So you just gave the 5 stars.
Yeah.
Seems basic. Yeah. So you ask everyone else to do something that you yourself have not done.
I'm willing to do it, though.
Okay.
So
well, willing needs some action behind it. So go and help those people that also need all of your feedback. Yep. So we are launching again. We're launching a little bit late. We've had a busy summer.
We have. And if you're watching the room, we redid the whole room, redid everything. We've got to spend time with family.
We have some guests in the studio today.
We do. We have like a whole little thing going on.
Yeah, there's a whole setup here, guys. It's a little intimidating.
It's weird.
Here's my advice to you. Have friends that will do things for sourdough waffles.
Yeah.
That's basically the key point here, is have friends who have
homemade sourdough waffles. You can't just, because you can probably go down to some hippie store and get sourdough waffles.
Hippie store?
Yeah. So you know which ones I'm talking about.
Okay.
You know exactly which one I'm talking about.
And I'm not saying just left.
I'm not saying I don't go.
Okay.
I'm just saying what they are.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyways, homemade sourdough waffles. Yeah. Find friends that will absolutely drop everything for you and help you out in the process. We're so thankful. Angel and Eric are getting a shout out on the podcast. Thank you guys so much for helping us out today and helping us get all the logistics taken care of.
Absolutely.
We're very, very thankful for good friends. Yeah. So yeah, this summer, give an overview of what we've done.
Wow. With like ministry wise, lots of coaching. And then we've had a few speaking engagements, which have been great.
Yeah, I really love that.
Yeah, this has been a blast. And I feel that the prep for those is a lot, but it's filling. Like I don't get tired doing those. What else have we done? I feel like it's gone by so fast.
Yeah, it has. And we did go through a whole training through our church, and that was really God's timing, I think, especially as we were just preparing for speaking engagements. Also made me feel even less equipped to do what we're doing, which I just think is a God way of doing things. That
absolutely,
the more you know, the less prepared you feel, if you will, or maybe it's just more of the weight of it that you feel. And I think I feel that this season, even probably more so than I have, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, no, it is good. It's fine.
So we actually did, get a chance to discuss this a little bit in one of our speaking engagements, what we're going to talk about today too.
Yeah.
So
I'm jumping in,
baby.
So we were at, so we got invited to go speak at this event, and we're prepping for it, like writing for it. Right. And, the theme of the night was breathe and all this stuff. And so I have, tons of stories, from my career, right. From my time on the team and going through selection and all that. And if you want to get into that, I don't know what episode it was, but I talk about it a little bit more. But anyway, one of these stories came up from selection. And so that's what we're going to talk about today and tie it into real life. I mean, it was real life, clearly, but tied into like the real life of a relationship with your wife or your husband, but also with your family.
Yeah.
I think this ties into everything. So back in 2009, I went to selection. I decided to go to selection. And during that, it's, if there's, the guys that listen, if you know anything about selection, it's caloric deprivation and sleep.
I need to do some caloric deprivation. I'm going to lie.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But, and sleep deprivation, which you do that by yourself all the time. Anyway, according to you, you never sleep. I mean, every morning, like, how'd you sleep? Oh, I didn't sleep good at all. I don't know how you function. So
it's true.
But so you go through caloric and sleep deprivation. So it's already hard. And then you don't know what's going to happen next. You're just kind of told what to do and you do the task and everything sucks and you hate life. Right. So in 2009, I'm going through this. We would do a lot of patrols at night and then they would just randomly tell us to do something. Right. And when you're that hungry and when you're that sleep deprived, it's easy to break. And I think that's something that I want to very much communicate to right now. It is very easy to break when you have very little sleep and when you're starving. Because it didn't matter what we ate, we were always starving because the calories you're burning the whole time. And so we're on this patrol, hating life, all these things, like even to the point, like sleep deprivation to the point of, one of my buddies would see giraffes in the desert and we're not in Africa. Like this is, southern New Mexico, right? So there's no giraffes at all. If you're not from southern New Mexico, there's no giraffes in southern New Mexico. So he would just be staring off the distance looking at giraffes. It was super weird, but I'd see people. So now I thought that was even weird. Like people out to get me. Like I felt like there was always someone out to get me. That's how it felt. That's how it feels like you're a prisoner when you go through these things, right? So I always felt.
I was like waiting for you to be like, I saw my wife. I saw people were out to get me.
Yeah, these people were out to do harm to me. Always looking over your shoulder. It's ridiculous. So anyway, we're doing one of these, get to this area and they're like, drop your bags, right? Drop our rucks. Put all your gear up. So we just drop it right there. And then they tell us to circle up and link arms. Right? So right now we already know like a horrible thing is about to happen to us. And at this point, there's 13 of us. We started with 75-ish, somewhere around that number. I don't even know. There's a lot of people. So there's 13 of us now. We're, in this circle, linking arms. We all look like POW prisoners. And we're just waiting for some horrible, thing to happen. Right. And it's dark. It's, oh man, it's at night. It's dark. And it's, moon lights up. Like, it's just like this movie setting to me, when I think about it. It probably wasn't really like that, but that's how I feel like right now when I think about it. But all of a sudden, one of the cadre or instructors, one of the instructors or cadre, whatever he tells us, you better not break that circle. So then now even more than before, we're worried. Like I remember we're all looking at each other with this face of like,
here it comes.
Yeah. And what's going to happen, right? Because the selection course I went through, it felt like everything was designed, which it is kind of this way still, designed to drop people. If it's not a hard pass fail gate, it's something else designed to make people mentally quit and drop because you don't want that person on your team. So we're all like, okay, there's 13 of us left. They told us to link arms, this small little circle, and now they're telling us don't break the circle. So what is this next thing that's going to happen? And then an arm comes through over our shoulders, and he's holding a can, and the pin's pulled on the can. And so for those of you that don't know this, like a grenade, right? Like you see in the movies, so this is a grenade, they have to pull the pin. It's similar to that, but it's a can of chemical. It's called CS, but it's like a tear gas, right? So they put the can in the middle, the pin's out, we can see it. I mean, our eyes are probably huge right now looking at this can because we know what's about to happen, right? And then he just opens his hand, drops it, spoon, ding, flies. It's dead silence. Can goes off. And the can is sitting in the circle, burning at some ridiculous heat. And it's just letting off this monster plume of smoke. It looks like a huge cloud. And it's engulfed us by this time. So CS, for those of you that have never been exposed to CS, it makes you, shut your eyes. Like it makes your body do involuntary things, right? Makes you shut your eyes, makes your mucus, like all your, mucus membranes or whatever, like just overreact, right? So it's just snot, saliva, it's nasty. It's nasty stuff, right?
I would have been breaking the circle so fast. Just 100% gone. Why am I here?
No, for sure, right? So this is happening, all that's happening. And then so it doesn't take away oxygen. There's oxygen in that cloud still. So smoke takes away oxygen, right? Like a fire. There's oxygen in there. It's designed that way. Because when you breathe in, it feels, and I've been exposed to it since then too, but it feels like these razor blades are like ripping down your esophagus into your lungs. It's what it feels like to me. And it's pretty spicy, right? And so you're there, we're locked up arms, and this is happening, and we're holding our breath because we're like, let's play this game, right? And the cadre are like, don't break the circle. And they're not even yelling. They're just kind of like this. You better not break that circle, right? And so we have these choices though, right? So the cadre is saying, don't break the circle, but we have choices. You always have a choice to do multiple things. You're never backed into a corner truly, right? You always have a choice. Our choices were to break the circle, right? One of us could have broke the circle. Probably maybe 2 or 3 would have broken that circle. The next thing that would have happened to that person, they would have been put on a bus, basically like the removal vehicle that's there waiting for one of us to drop. They would have been removed from the course. And that sounds horrible. And that's something that clearly I didn't do. But also the plus side of that was they were going to take a hot shower. They were going to be in a nice bed, and they were going to have an amazing meal. Like they would remind us that over and over again if you wanted to quit. So we knew you break the circle, you're going to get removed. And then all this good stuff's going to happen to you, right? Except you're not on the team. The other option was to hold your breath, right? Like we were all kind of doing at first because you don't want to breathe that. Your body doesn't want to do this. So it was to hold your breath. And ultimately what you do, and I've seen guys do this, they'd hold their breath so much they'd faint, pass out, and they'd just be on the ground. Basically, they're unconscious through the duration of the CS gas. that's not good either. Well, clearly you're just laying on the ground, but also you're ineffective. You're a liability to everyone else around you, right? So this is a team environment. So that was another option. And then of course the third option was literally to breathe, right? And I'm not going to say, like, I'm not going to pretend that we all stood there locked arms, like stoic, and took breaths. But we all decided without talking to each other that we're going to breathe and we're not going to break this circle, right? Ultimate defiance of what we thought, right? Well, one, it was for sure ultimate defiance in our flesh. Our flesh just wanted to get out of there as fast as we could. That's what that stuff's designed to do to you. But also ultimate defiance in our cadre. We hated our cadre. So we didn't want them to like get like the satisfaction of one of us leaving, right? Like now, this is what you want. You want your guys that hate the cadre, right? Because then they're forming as a team. But anyway, so we're there and we're breathing it. And every breath is horrible. Like it is horrible. Every single breath. And we're all breathing it. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, calming, just like not, and screaming and yelling while we're breathing. We're just like, we got to do this, right? So we're locked arms, breathing in and out. I'm sure it looked nasty, right? Because like you can't stop what's happening, right? All the mucus, all that stuff going on. But we're calming our minds and taking our breaths. Right? One of the biggest lessons I learned that day, I learned it that day, but I didn't know it that day, right? It was because then it was just, we ate the full can and then, all right, recover. You can unlock arms, grab your gear, and we're moving on to next horrible tasking of evolution that they want to do to us, right? Whatever torture thing they want to do. We're moving on.
Trying to break you over here.
Yeah. We couldn't break you there. Let's go over here. We're going to break you. I will say that none of those 13 dudes broke from that point on. We graduated 13 in my class. But I almost lost my train of thought on that. No, the thing I learned that night that I, learned that the realization came to me later was that no matter the circumstances of what was going on, I can stay locked in and I can calm my mind and I could take my breaths, right? And when we were writing this for the event that we were going to, what I really focused on that was breathing in and out. And it's like a prayer, and I went into, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. I just heard this when I was doing all this stuff with it. But the original spelling, I guess, right? Or pronunciation of Jesus is Y-A. I'm saying, I know I'm doing it wrong.
God. Yeah, Yahweh.
Yahweh. But we put A's, right? We put the vowels in there, but the original had no vowels. So it was just like Y-H, Y-W or Y-H-W.
W-H, I think.
Yeah. I know I'm spelling it wrong, but it mimics what it sounds like when you breathe in and breathe out. And it was such a cool thing that I read about, and then I saw a video on it. It was just this awesome thing that rabbis and all these people that study all this, they're like, no, this is it makes that sound when you breathe in and breathe out, like the whatever, right? It makes a sound. And so that's what I really focused on that night. But now fast forward to like sitting in this chair with you, and what I really want to get around is, no matter the circumstances, right? You and your family, you and your wife have to stay locked in the
circle,
right? Have to stay in the circle. You see the nastiness that's about to happen, right? Like in my story, as soon as that can hit the ground, it like flames come out of the side and the gas starts. We know exactly there was no doubt what was about to happen. We saw it all coming, and we decided to stay locked up, take our breaths, calm our mind, and just get in it and go through it, right? Go through the other side.
Well, I think it was interesting to me as you were sharing the story is that, I do believe we always do have these options, these three options, right? You can get out, right? Which a lot of people do because it just seems easier. And so we have this delusion that like to get out or get away from the circumstances is going to be the way that we get to avoid the pain, right? We get to avoid all the things that are we don't want to have to go through.
Yeah.
Or we can just lay down and be useless and pretend that it doesn't exist. And you see that so many times in marriage, right? This apathetic side of things, right? Which is just like dismissive and whatever. And as soon as you get to that place, right, where it just doesn't matter, you just stop caring, like you're in a really dangerous place too, right? Because you do become ineffective. And then you leave someone else alone in the circle.
Yeah.
And that aspect then of, okay, but no matter what we face, if we have this decision, like we will link arms and we will get through. And I think, a lot of people don't think about these things until they are actively in it. And our encouragement always is that you actually think through these decisions before you face the thing that makes you want to run away, before you face the thing that makes you want to just
You should have already made the decisions prior to anything happening. And we've talked about this like over and over again. And it still feels like you're saying something brand new to someone when you say this. And it boggles my mind when you do that, because it's like, don't you prepare? Like, you want a driver's license, what do you go do? Right? You go drive your car, like figure these things out. Like all these things you want to prepare for in your life, but you don't prepare for what happens in marriage.
Well, I was just telling our youngest yesterday as we were painting a couple of walls. And, even our studio, we've spent this past week painting this room. And I was telling him, I was like, painting is one of those things that you realize, like, your level of preparation is how effective it is, right? Because if you skip the taping, if you skip the putting down the drop cloth, right? All of those little aspects, then you actually do see how you trying to do it quickly or doing it wrong actually ends up being much more effort. And so your preparation actually matters so much. But then I think about us in the middle of all that. If you haven't heard our story, you can go to episode 80 and 81. This is not on YouTube. For those of you who are on YouTube, you'll have to listen to this one. But, I don't think that we did think through this stuff.
No, we didn't.
We assumed our preparation.
Yep.
And I think that is actually where a lot of marriages end up, is for some reason we always do think that we're the exception to the rule, or I guess we're so busy or so distracted that the preparation in and of itself seems like too much to do and unnecessary. I think that's where a lot of people, and I think that's probably where we were too.
It was where we were, but I would say, like, I wasn't a good leader to our family. I was just kind of walking that role. I wasn't actively doing anything to help lead us, right? Like, I was, like, I would say I was a good dad, right? I mean,
I
don't know.
See,
you don't look at me.
Now that we're on YouTube, you guys get to see all of these things.
But you you just deadpan face looking at me while I'm talking about this. And I'm like, let me fish for a compliment. I'm going to fish again. And then it doesn't happen. And I'm like, I was a good dad, right? I wasn't the best dad.
Waiting for you to finish.
I wasn't the best dad, but I was decent.
Next time you're fishing, go ahead and do the motion. And then I'll know.
But then assaults be a whip. So I don't want, like, you need to know that this is fishing, not like.
That I would imagine that it was a whip?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what you think. I don't know how your brain works.
You were a good dad. Yes, you were a good dad.
But I wasn't leading my family.
Yeah.
I was just kind of, we went to church, we did all those things. But, like I've said in my story, I didn't have this rooted relationship with Christ that I do now. So I wasn't really leading my family. And that kind of rolls into the scripture that we picked for today too. So
I love this verse.
Yeah. Actually, Lisa kind of picked it first, so since we are on YouTube, you could see, like, I've looked at this.
Are you trying to
I've looked through
about this scripture?
Yeah, because I like it too. It's not just that you thought of it. I really like this verse too.
Brad, full on pulls up the Bible, hold on.
Look at this.
Hold on. I want you to see how spiritual I am.
I've even started circling things. I've learned that from our pastor. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So anyway. So the scripture today it's for this specific topic. It's 1 Corinthians 16, 13 and 14. And this explains how to be a man, right? I would say how to be a woman too. Right? I'm not trying to be whatever, but it does explain how to be a move. Yeah, but it is whatever. So 1 Corinthians 16:13. Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. Let all that you do be done in love. And so what it's telling you there, being aware, watchful, look, right? Like that's the awareness of what you need.
Prepare, right?
To prepare. Yeah. Stand firm in your faith. You know, that strong, steadiness. Keep your arms linked.
Yeah.
Right. Be strong. I think that in and itself, you know, that it's not physical. I mean, yes, physical in a sense too, but also just, you know, mentally strong, physically strong, spiritually strong, you know, all these things that you need to be strong for your family, and then do everything in love. Nothing should come out, even when you get mad at your kids or you and your spouse have a little, you know.
I like to wait and see what word you
I know. I was going to drop some Spanish and I totally forgot what the word was.
He likes me to fill in the gaps sometimes, but I like to see where he goes. Just to...
but it's all out of love.
Yeah.
And nothing should be out of
You skipped act
pride.
like men.
No, I didn't. I said that.
Oh, I didn't hear you say it.
Yeah. You could play it back.
Oh, okay.
I said.
What's that play? The replay.
The red flag in the NFL. You could play that back because I did say act like a man.
Okay.
But I would say for me now, this is how you lead your family well. And then this is all preparation, because here's really what it should be. It should be when that thing, whatever that can is for you, starts to like bellow and come out, and your family's like, no.
What now? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't want to do this. I know this is going to be horrible. This isn't what we planned. This isn't our lives. This is never anything we've ever thought about. And I'm speaking specifically to husbands, you should be that man that's that 1 Corinthians 16, 13, 14, right? And it's like, no, we're staying together. We're linking arms and we're going to get through this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to let you guys, like, we're going to stay strong together because here's my constant. I can link arms and we can pray and we can get past this.
Yeah.
We might not get around it because maybe that's part of God's like showing you, hey, this is how you go through this and what's on that other side that's going to be so amazing. And I'm talking like can be exactly what it was for us. It can be the reconciliation after infidelity, right? That can be the can. And maybe you don't have a full family. Maybe it's just you and your wife, but you've decided we're here and we're going to work this out.
Yeah.
Now you're linking arms, and that can now is shame, pride, trips, like triggers, that the intrusive thought, like all these things. That's what that can becomes. Untrustworthy, all those things, all that baggage that comes back when he's trying to reconcile. That's what that can becomes. Now, are you gonna like turn and burn? Are you gonna hold your breath and pass out and not, be the apathetic husband that I see so many husbands be? And that, like, that's a whole
waiting for the eyebrow.
I mean, we've talked about this before on other episodes, but that fires me up. I don't like people that just sit there and do nothing. And with that attitude, right? There's times you don't do things. Yeah, I get that. But I mean, like that apathetic attitude. And I know as I'm saying this, there's people that you think of immediately.
Or maybe you're like, I don't know anyone like that.
And it's like, well, maybe you need to look in that rearview mirror while you're driving. Might be you. Right?
Okay.
No, but being apathetic is not. That's the guy that passed out and fainted.
Yeah, ineffective.
And now in real world, right, on the team, I'll take it back to what I do for a living. On the team, real world, we're at an event and there's gas or there's something horrible going on and we don't have time to like don and prep all this stuff. We have to act. And there's a dude that holds his breath and passes out. And now not only do I have to combat whatever this is, I have to worry about this guy that just passed out because he wasn't, man enough to take the breath. Right. He was like, no, I'm the dude that unlinks the arms and takes off. Yeah. That's why we can't have that.
Right.
Right. Because now he's my main problem and he's my main problem. And so we're now, I have to split these efforts in it.
So I was going to say, you now have put more burden on your teammates
Yeah.
You're making them take on a role that you should be an active participant in. And that is what a lot of times that you see in a marriage, right? Is if you do have an apathetic husband, you have a wife who then steps into a role that she either doesn't want and or overly wants, right?
Yeah.
One or the other.
And then that throws up balance.
Also is a disaster area. And so I love this verse so much. Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. Let all that you do be done in love. And I think like that act like men, the reason I said it is like, this is so countercultural to what we're dealing with now is a culture that demeans you being a man, right? Demeans that idea of, toxic masculinity, this, that, and the other thing, and or women who are trying to be men. Yeah. Right. And none of these things are effective. They always fall short. And we're not called to be like culture. Yeah. There is a blueprint that has been laid out for us. And there's a reason for it because God does want us to live the most effective lives that we can here on this earth and to bear fruit. And we are called to link arms with our spouse and to also with our family and to stay in that circle and stand firm. Like I just love that so much.
I hate that term. Toxic masculinity, since you brought it up.
Okay.
I hate that.
We'll go get banned first.
Oh no, here's the deal. But here's the deal. I don't, so the reason I don't like that is because masculinity, if you're people that are toxic, they're not masculine. Right? That definition of masculinity is basically what we just read. Right? Do everything in love. Sacrificial love, like all these things, like be watchful, be mindful, be prepping, looking forward, be strong in your faith, stand firm. All those things that's masculinity to me, right? Of course, I know women, yes, you can be strong in your faith. You need to do all these things too. But what I'm saying specifically with men, that's masculinity. So why put toxic in front of it? If you're toxic, you're not holding to what masculinity is. And that's why for me, I don't like that term.
I like it.
It's putting that what adjective, right? I'm not real good at grammar. It's putting that adjective.
We're going to get blasted for this. Like, that was not
it. But that was actually blah, blah. My disclaimer is I went to public school. There's my disclaimer. All right. So
okay.
Yeah. But you're defining masculinity by saying it's toxic when masculinity itself is not toxic. It's that man he's not really a man. He's it's that stupid, like everyone wants to be an alpha male and all these things that they do. I mean, there's a whole nother road we can go down later, but anyway, I don't like that term.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So you're a toxic man, but there's no toxic masculinity.
I like it.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So after that whole now you get to see him stroking the beard too. So yet again, you're missing out if you're just listening because you didn't get to see Brad's whole rant face that he just had.
Yeah,
on.
I mean, that happens. Yeah.
So challenge for this week?
I felt like I had, what are you doing right now to stay linked, to keep your arms linked, right? Yeah. Like we have a family of 5. And so when I think of things that come our way, I'm thinking of all 5 of us in a circle, right? You guys get that. If you're not watching, you get that, right? Like when the bride walks down the aisle with her dad and how the arms are linked,
I just, like now I'm seeing you and I'm just like, one day when you walk our daughter down the aisle, are you going to have that same motion to your head?
Like, yes. No, don't even talk about that.
That just brought Brad to a space he didn't want to go.
Well, because I immediately, I see my little girl that barely walks. When I danced with her when she was at that wedding, that's what I see. I don't see this woman that she is now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So anyways, walking down the aisle.
Yeah. That's what that's linking arms. That's what we're talking about. So then if you picture back to my story, you have all these, look like POW prisoner guys. We're all linked arms like that, kind of holding our own hands together.
Yeah. Beat down. You guys are beat down.
Yeah. Lisa didn't even recognize me when she saw me, but when I was done, right. But we kind of like, grasped our own hands together, kind of more of that we're not breaking type of thing. And that's what I picture our family doing. when something comes up, it doesn't have to be as big as,
No, there's always something.
It's always something that wants
divide.
to attack your family.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's what we see. That's a propaganda that's spread throughout everywhere. That's all you see is something against family, the normal family. So I would say like the challenge is, look internal, look at your family. Are you fighting on the same side? Mm-hmm. Are you linking arms? If you're a husband, are you aware? Are you being watchful? Are you standing firm? Or do you even act like a man? I mean, it says it right there. That's not me. Get mad at that. I didn't say it. So.
Yeah, get prepared. Honestly, yeah. Like that's what you're needing to do, and don't wait until there is that can that's been dropped in the middle of that circle. Mm-mm. Because I think you're exactly right. It doesn't have to be this huge explosion. I mean, a lot of times these are small things that build up over time. Yeah. And so when it does feel like it explodes, you can look back and say there were all of these tiny little cracks and steps that led there. But if you prepare in advance, then you get a chance to actually prevent. Yeah. And so prepare. Yeah. Be prepared.
Nice. Right. I like it.
Okay. Season 9, episode 1 in the books. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys. See you.